I pretty much summarized the whole episode here, so watch out for spoilers. People were arguing over whether it was Dickon or Bronn who saved Jaime, but now we know it was Bronn. When they surfaced and everyone was gone, I thought, where is everybody? Did they just stay underwater until everybody left? Then I realized that they swam away from the battlefield, but it strains credulity that they swam all that way undetected. Bronn lets Jaime know that when Daenerys comes to Westeros with all 3 dragons, he's getting the fuck out of there. It's gonna be like when Tyrion asked Bronn to fight the Mountain. He's still a mercenary, he's not going to stick his neck out in a fight he knows he can't win. Daenerys rounds up the survivors of the battle and asks them to bend the knee or die. Predictably, the Tarlys refuse and get Dracarys'd. Tyrion tries to talk her out of it, but she doesn't listen. She says she doesn't want to take prisoners because that's essentially putting people in chains. But she's making a really silly conflation between mercifully taking prisoners and slavery. This means that Sam is the last Tarly. Cersei gets the bad news and Jaime lets her know that they can't win. Cersei figures that she'll be killed either way, so she decides to go out fighting. Daenerys flies back to Dragonstone and Jon pets Drogon. Drogon lets him, probably because he smells all Targaryen-y. Those close-ups really stretched the credibility of the dragon CG, though. They should have gone with animatronics for those bits. Daenerys tries to figure out what Davos was talking about when he said that Jon took a knife to the heart when Jorah shows up. Bran sees the White Walkers coming toward Eastwatch and warns everybody about it. The Maesters at the Citadel think it's bullshit. Sam tells them that it's all true and Maester Ebros says he'll write back for clarification, but remains skeptical because it could be the case that Daenerys is trying to trick everyone into sending their armies north. Ebros also reveals that he hasn't told Sam that he's the last Tarly. Varys gets the message from Bran and discusses with Tyrion the dangers of being complicit with Targaryens while they burn people alive. Jon Snow reads the message and expresses surprise that Arya and Bran are still alive. I was thinking that maybe Sansa told him that Theon didn't really kill them, and that since Brienne told Sansa that Arya was still alive, maybe she passed along that information, but I guess not. This makes it more surprising that Jon didn't kill Theon when he showed up at Dragonstone. They come up with a plan to try to convince Cersei to help attack the White Walkers by capturing a White and showing it to her. Davos will take Tyrion to King's Landing to talk to Jaime, who will pass the message to Cersei. Jon and Jorah will go north and try to get a zombie. Back at Winterfell, the Northmen argue about Jon's decision, and Sansa patiently reassures them that he can be trusted. She listens a little too patiently for Arya's taste, and she confronts Sansa about this. When Arya sees that Sansa has moved into her parents' bedroom, she starts to question Sansa's motivations. Davos and Tyrion show up at King's Landing. Bronn tricks Jaime into going into the basement where they keep the dragon skulls under the pretense that he'll practice his sword fighting, but he's really setting up a meeting with Tyrion. Tyrion tells Jaime that Daenerys wants an armistice so they can fight the White Walkers. Davos goes to Fleabottom to pick up Gendry to help in the north, and Gendry loves the idea. He takes his warhammer and goes back to the boat with Davos where they meet some Kingsguards and bribe them to leave. When Tyrion comes walking toward the boat, the guards recognize that he fits the description of a dwarf they've been looking for. Jaime approaches Cersei and sees Qyburn coming out of her chambers. Jaime explains that Daenerys wants a truce so she can fight the White Walkers and that he got this information from Tyrion. Cersei says that she knows that he met with Tyrion, which might explain why the guards were looking for someone fitting Tyrion's description, and says that Bronn should be punished for tricking Jaime. Cersei may have gotten or intercepted the message from Winterfell, so maybe she already knows about the Army of the Dead. Maybe the Maesters at the Citadel tipped her off. Since Cersei knows she's pretty much doomed, I think she wants the White Walkers to come into Westeros and destroy everything. Maybe she'll tell Daenerys that she agrees to the ceasefire, or maybe even that she'll send soldiers north, but then just orders them to attack everyone, making it easier for the White Walkers to invade. Maybe that's what she was discussing with Qyburn. Or maybe Qyburn even knows how to control the White Walkers somehow. Also, she tells Jaime that she's pregnant, and this seems to win Jaime over. I think it's bullshit, though. I think she just said that to make it interesting. A 4th child was not in Maggie the Frog's prophecy. Davos arrives back at Dragonstone and tells Gendry not to let anyone know that his name is Gendry or that he's Robert Baratheon's son, which he immediately does as soon as he runs into Jon Snow. He figures that since their fathers were best friends, why can't he and Jon be best friends? Gilly is going through some of Sam's paperwork, and Sam finally snaps and decides he doesn't like grad school and packs his things and they leave. While Gilly is leafing through some books, she comes across mention of an annulment of the marriage between Rhaegar Targaryen and Elia Martell. We know that Rhaegar is Jon Snow's father, but if his marriage to Elia Martell was annulled and he was immediately remarried to someone else, that could make Jon Snow not just Rhaegar's son, but his legitimate son. Jon Snow is therefore the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. Arya sees Littlefinger do some creepy wheeling and dealing that looks like he's plotting a coup. He digs up a copy of an old message received from a raven, and Arya sees him hide it in his room. She searches the room, finds the message, and it was the message that Cersei forced Sansa to write to Winterfell after Ned was captured, asking Robb to bend the knee. When Arya leaves the room, Littlefinger is watching around the corner, so he probably wanted Arya to find it. Since Arya doesn't know that Cersei forced Sansa to write the letter, it may confirm her suspicions that Sansa is not sufficiently loyal. Littlefinger could use this to get between the two of them. I think Arya will grow closer to Brienne, and a fight will break out and Brienne may die defending her. But none of this is probably getting past Bran. Maybe Bran will let Sansa and Arya know that they're being manipulated and they'll team up against Littlefinger. I think Littlefinger has also been collecting information to demonstrate that Jon is really a Targaryen so he can turn the North against him. Jorah, Jon, and Davos explain the zombie kidnapping plan to Tormund, and it turns out that he has the Hound, Beric Dondarrion, and Thoros of Myr imprisoned, and they want to go beyond the Wall as well. They all hate each other because wildlings hate Mormonts, Gendry hates Red Priests, and the Hound hates everyone. But since they're all threatened by the zombies, they agree to get along. The next episode is the penultimate episode of the season, and they always do something super crazy in the second to last episode of the season.